Shogun, the Demon Girl, Yua, Fez, Senna, Swords. As was my old habit, I jotted down a list of all the things I didn't know enough about in my head. It meant to put myself as one final item on the list, but I decided against it. I was complete I was completely normal. It was the stuff happening around me that wasn't. It was the most obvious conclusion. Was Fest my ally or my enemy? It would be nice to know at least that much. Problem was, I didn't have the courage to ask her. Today I headed straight for the animate without stopping by at cafe. The reason, of course, was finally pick up my long-awaited Bloodtune figure, Seratan post-awakening version. While I was in checkout, Yua's face crossed my mind for a second, but I cut off those thoughts immediately. I glanced at Seratans that were set on display in order to attract customers, but since the sculptor was Kijima Yoshio, not a single word needed to be said about their quality. I had to get home fast so I could enjoy her every nook and cranny as soon as possible. Fuhihi. As long as I could admire Seratan's face every now and then while I played ESO, I was content. So why did the entire third dimension do nothing but bring me trouble? It plagued me even now. I headed straight for my base in high spirits, forgetting all about Fez and Swords and whatever else, and practically skipping the entire way home. When I was about 50 meters away, I encountered two men who carried an unmistakable abnormal air about them. I attempted to pass by them without making eye contact, but they were very clearly watching me.
そこの君、ちょっといいかい？
The first of the two to call out to me was a dull older man, one that looked like he belonged at a cycling racetrack gambling his life away. His hair was a mess and his unshaved beard was somehow worse. He wore a worn out old suit, a sloppily tied necktie, and dress shoes that didn't show a trace of being cared for. All of it came together to form an unparalleled example of a man who had failed to get ahead in life. For some reason, the fact that he was flapping a fan at himself only served to further emphasize how pathetic he looked. His expression was similarly languid, his mouth curled into a flippant smile. And yet, when our eyes met for a split second, I knew then that he wasn't really smiling. There was nowhere to run. As I searched for something to reply to them with, the two men made their way up to
おじさ
me.
ん、こういうものなんだけどさ。
The older man took out a black badge from his suit and held it out toward me. It was the same kind of police badge you had seen in various TV shows, but it was obviously the first time I'd ever seen a real one. They have finally come for me. They could only be here for one thing, the crucifixion
ちょっ
case.
と話を聞かせてもらっていいかい？もちろん強制じゃないんだけどね。あ、いやいや、そんな身構えなくていいよ。ほんと、話聞くだけだから。
The way he spoke didn't show a trace of trying to intimidate me. The other younger detective, however, wore a strict expression as he nonchalantly moved to block my path. Sweat started running down my neck. If I made any wrong moves, they'd likely suspect me of being the culprit, call me down to the station right then and there. I didn't want to that. I didn't want that to happen. I resigned myself and gave a small nod.
君さ、俗に言うニュージェネレーションの狂気って知ってるかな？
I knew it. I wiped the beads of sweat off my forehead and gave him a nod in
じゃ
reply.
あ3番目に起きた通称貼り付け殺人事件も当然知ってるよね。この近所で起きたわけなんだけども、その目撃者を探してるわけよ。あ、ちなみに君、名前聞かせてくれる？
A gulp forced itself down my throat. This wasn't some bait and switch shit, was it? Or maybe there were a bunch of con men who were only acting like policemen while in reality they were just mining my personal information so they could put it to ill use. They could even be the demon girl's
ん
underlings.
あれ、答えてくんないのかな？
If they started to suspect me, there would be no end to it. What should I do? If I gave them a fake name, they might arrest me immediately.
ああ、個人情報保護法とか気にしてる？おじさんそんなに信用なさそうに見えるかな？
I will say. Either way, his friendly way of speaking had to be just an act.
西条匠
In the end, I figured there was no way around it, that it was in my best interest to answer honestly.
西条匠くんでいいかい？
I shook my head.
本当に？
Huh? What was that supposed to mean? I had purposefully given him my real name. So what the hell was that reaction?
いや、これは失礼。今のは気にしないでくれ。
The detective's unnatural laughter ran throughout the quiet residential area. Just hurry up and let me go already.
その制服、水明だよね。何年生？
Did I have to answer stuff like that?
に
悪いね。聞き取れなかった。おじさん、もう年だから耳遠くてさ。もう一度言ってくれる？
2年生
ああ、2年生ね。どうも。で、西条さん。聞きたいことってのは、先月の29日の午後6時から10時頃にかけて、どこで何してたかなんだわ。
Where they asked me for my alibi? Did that mean they suspected me? That's ridiculous.
いや、別に君を疑ってるわけじゃなくてさ、その時間にこの近くにいたなら怪しい人物を見かけたとか、何か音を聞いたとかないかと思ってね。
For some reason, the way the guy talked was really starting to get to me. Maybe talking in a way that deliberately agitated the subject was some kind of interrogation technique. Of course, I had seen someone suspicious. I'd seen someone very clearly and with my own two eyes, but I wasn't sure if it would be a good idea to tell that to the shady old guy. What would I do if I told him then the demon girl came back for revenge? It seems like the demon girl was letting me run free for now, but she still had Shogun on her side, and he was equipped with precognitive powers. So, by that logic, that must have meant that the demon girl had some sort of insane power as well. And if that was true, and I told the police about it, she might find out about it immediately because of her clairvoyance or whatever, and then she would come to kill me right
な
after.
あ、西条くん、今日はそんなに暑いか？
My heart rate skyrocketed. If I stayed silent like this, they would absolutely suspect me of being the criminal. But at the same time, I was scared that if I lied and said I didn't see anything, they would see right through me. The older man fanned me a couple times with his fan. A cool breeze rustled my hair.
もうすっかり秋だ。汗かくほど暑いとは思えんけどな。まあ体質ってのは人それぞれだしな。
Ironic, considering he was the one walking around with his tan, but he was right. It wasn't all that hot out today. It was perfect, actually. The kind of temperature you would actually enjoy spending time in. I'd wiped the sweat off my forehead with my sleeve countless times now.
僕はやってない。
おお。
The look in his eyes shifted. I realized that I slipped up. I had no idea what exactly had tipped him off.
何をやっていないんだ
They definitely suspected me. I had to answer honestly. Staring at the manhole cover right beneath my feet, I began to blurt out everything.
見たんです。貼り付けの現場、そこに女がいたんです。で、血まみれにして死体の前に杭がたくさん死体に突き刺さってて、あれ500本は絶対超えてた。異常だ。死体がハリネズミみたいになってて、女は僕を見てよかったって笑ってた。あの女は悪魔だ。人間じゃない。ニュージェネの母には人を超えた存在なんだ。ヨシとかすごい超能力とか使う。
Upon saying that much, I realized the two detectives were staring at me with their eyes wide. Maybe they didn't believe me, thinking that I clamped my mouth shut.
悪魔か。なるほどね。そいつは参考になったよ。
Wow. Das war eine gute Antwort von ihm.
本当です。
ああ、わかってるわかってる。貴重な情報だよ。
僕を警察で、守ってください。
その前に、その女の年はわかる。服装とか顔の特徴とか。
水明。
水明って水明学園？
その制服着てた。
つまり西条君と同じ学校の生徒か。
After simmering on that for a moment, the old man grinned. He then muttered something that could be an actual question, or him just mumbling to himself.
何年生だろうな、その女子高生は。何年生だと思う？西条君。
わからない。
じゃあなんて名前だと思う？
わからないよ。僕はあの悪魔の名前なんて知らない。
その女の身長、体重、あとついでに3サイズについては。
These three sizes. What was up with this old man? Was he screwing with me? How was I supposed to know even a single of those? Did he think I could instantly get all those measurements from a single glance? Oh yeah, sure, I absolutely had such a stupid power. Oh wait, no I didn't, because this wasn't a goddamn rom-com manga.
なるほど。黙ってるってことはわからないってことだね。結構。参考になったよ。これは本部に戻って検討しないといかんな。
先輩、マジっすか
Waving his hand to silence the dumbfounded younger detective, the older man signaled something to him with his eyes.
西条君、ちなみに連絡先とか教えてもらえる？
なんで？
I knew they wouldn't believe me. They wanted to label me as some nutjob and falsely accuse me of everything.
ああ、だって悪魔だっけ？そいつから君を守らなくちゃならないだろ？
Oh, that was why he had asked. Oh, thank God, they actually believed me. Wow. If I could get the police to protect me, it would be incredibly reassuring. Yes, the enemy was a demon, so the police would only get one shot if they went up against her, but it was better than being unarmed. Feeling slightly relieved, I took out the phone I had brought a few days prior, showed him my new phone number. The younger detective scribbled it down in his notebook.
いや、忙しいところありがとうさ。君の身の安全は警察が保証するから、何の心配もしなさんな。じゃあ、また何か聞きたいことができたら電話するかもしんないんで、その時はよろしくね。イルスとか使わないでくれよ。今のところ警察にとっては君は重要な人物だからな。
え？
君の目撃証言は事件解決の重要な手がかりになりそうだ。じゃあな。
The two detectives bowed their heads and promptly took off. After taking a glance at me over his shoulder, the younger detective whispered something to the older one. The older man paid him no mind and simply continued to walk. I let out a long, long sigh. It was intense. It was the first time I had ever been questioned by actual detectives. I'd acted pretty suspicious without meaning to, but they had believed me anyway, somehow. God, I had give anything for the police to arrest the demon girl. Then again, the police didn't have any special powers, so maybe I should keep my expectations low. I then noticed that my mouth had gone incredibly dry without me realizing, so I redirected myself to the nearest vending machine and got myself a cola.
うわ、覚醒バージョン残すエロすぎ。パンモノじゃんか。だがそれがいい。
Wow.
顔かわいいよ顔。原作再現度はいまいちだけど、プンプンと漂うエロスが木島よしおらしさだよな。これはこれでグッジョブ。上着キャストオフとか、この角度からじゃほとんど全裸にしか見えんひょー。髪の動きがいいよな。覚醒バージョンは髪が命って持論があるわけだが、間違ってなかったな。さて、それではお待ちかね、パンツ行ってみようか。どれどれ。V ゾーンの作り込みいいよ。シワのつき方リアルだしって。これスージーさんすげえ。マジですげえ。クオリティ高すぎ。
Wow.
これセーラタン5作目にして早くも最高傑作爆誕じゃねえ。これ以上すごいのなんて出せないってマジで。やっぱ木島は神。
I carefully stood my new Saratan next to my monitor. Fuhihi, Sarah, you're so sexy, Sarah. Simply looking over at her made me grin uncontrollably. Life was good. I logged on and immediately started posting my impressions of my new Seratan figure on @channel. When I finished doing that, I went to check my email, then checked to see if any of my friends on Frepara had posted any
おっ
updates.
と、マイフレ申請来てるじゃん。誰これ。セーラコミュの人か。はいはい、ゲイですよ。
Now then, time for ESO. But the very second I thought that, felt chills on the nape of my neck. It was the gaze, complete with its usual intense presence. Those eyes are those eyes. Damn it, this was not the time. When I had first when had I first started feeling the gaze? It long since forgotten. It slithered its way into each and every part of my life, bothering the shit out of me all the way. There were a lot of things that disturbed my peace, but the gaze was right up there with Nanami as the most irritating thing I had to deal with. Fine then, let's do it. The "it will take more than that to make me turn around" game. Still fixated on my monitor, I tried to think of some cool lines you would hear in a manga.
貴様出てこい。僕の目をごまかせるとでも思ったか。甘いな。
There was no response, but why would there be? Hell, I'd be much more terrified if it had been.
え
I heard something. Upon hearing it, I immediately whipped around. I'd lost today's no turning around game. There was no one else in the room. Was it just a hallucination? Please be a hallucination. From the bottom of my heart, that was all I hoped for. It came again. It was the sound again. I couldn't weasel my way out of this. It was the sound of someone knocking on my door from the outside. In other words, someone was here. Practically no human beings ever came to visit me. Even newspaper salesmen wouldn't bother getting up on the roof. All I could think of was, delivery guy? No, I wasn't supposed to be getting any packages today. Nanami? No, Nanami would be so much more obnoxious. She would be banging on the door screaming, "Big bro, open up!" making me my eardrums bleed. You are? Chances of that were high. She had been to my base once before, and the demon girl ordered her to come and kill me. But if that were true, why would she bother knocking? The knocking sound continued. I was completely frozen in place trying to figure out what to do, but I couldn't come up with a single good idea that quickly. I started freaking out more and more. Wait, I could just pretend just like I wasn't home. Or was that being too cautious? No, there was no such thing right now. Shibuya had gone incredibly dangerous recently after all. If it was Yua, there was absolutely no way I could let her in. If I did, it would be pretty much asking to get killed. On a related note, was my door locked? I stared in the direction of the door, but thanks to the darkness I couldn't see very well. I slowly got up and tiptoed towards the door, being careful not to make a sound. When I reached the center of the room, I finally knew for sure. The door wasn't locked. Chills assaulted my entire body. My heartbeat increased rapidly, and my anxiety shot up along with it. I'd forgotten to lock my goddamn door. If someone just waltzed right on in right now and stabbed me in the back, I would have no right to complain. I had to lock it. Fast. If I made a sound, they would immediately find out that I was just pretending to not be home. But that was far better than letting them get inside. I was about to bolt towards the door when I accidentally stepped on an empty box lunch that had fallen on the floor. I slipped to an almost comical degree and landed hard on my ass. The extreme pain made me moan in silent agony. And then, right before my eyes, the door slowly began to open. I didn't know who it was, but whoever had been knocking was now opening the door of their own accord. I tried to get up, but the pain kept my body from listening to me. All I could do was stare with my teary eyes as the door opened. The first thing I saw was a hand. The sleeve was clearly from Suimei Academy uniform. Next, I saw hair, a little longer than Nanami's, but shorter than Yua's. I didn't know who it was. The hair steered, and the last thing I saw was a face suddenly peeking into my room.
こんにちは。
Oh nein, es ist das Demon Girl. That was when I finally realized who it was. A person I never would have expected. The worst possible plot twist. Feelings of intense despair threatened to steal every bit of hope away from me. This is a demon girl. I thought it would be Yua. I never would have thought the demon girl herself would come marching in.
いたいた。
Our eyes met, and right as they did, the demon girl smiled with glee. Her smile sent chills down my spine.
どうしてすぐ返事してくれないの？
Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Her hand hidden by the door had to be gripping one of those cross-shaped stakes. It had to be. She finally come to kill me. She was gonna kill me as she lost in pure ecstasy. It had to be because of the detectives I had talked to. She has seen me to do it with her clairvoyance. Don't kill me, I tried to scream, but I was too terrified to make a sound.
コロッケ？
Tilting her neck to the side, the demon girl unleashed a strange incantation. It had to be some demonic tongue. She was cursing me. In hopes of gaining as much distance as possible from her, I frantically started crawling back on my ass. My hands slipped countless times on random garbage scattered across the floor as I scrambled for the furthest thing away from her, my computer desk.
入っていいかな？っていうか、入っちゃいます。
The demon girl began encroaching further upon my territory. She even politely took off her shoes.
お邪魔しちゃった。あ、散らかってても私平気だから気にしないでね。
The door closed. My escape route had been cut off. However, despite what I thought earlier, the demon girl was only carrying a bag. I didn't see anything resembling a deadly weapon. Wait, that just meant it was inside her bag. It had to be. I had to be extremely careful. The second I let my guard down, she had swooped in and ended me. Or maybe she already had with that curse she placed on me a minute ago. In a few days, my entire body would suddenly start spewing blood everywhere and I would die right then and there.
頼むよ。殺さないで。
I got down on my hands and knees, crawling my head between my arms. Those goddamn detectives had completely fucked me over.
警察に喋ったこと謝るから。
警察？
それに話してもちっとも信じてもらえてなかったし。
It was a lie meant to buy me some time. The older detective had said he would guarantee my safety. If he was doing his job properly, he had to have sent at least one officer over to my place. Upon thinking that, I suddenly realized I had given the old man my phone number. I hadn't given him my address.
石？
Suddenly, the demon girl assumed a pose resembling a salute. And what was just as, if not more strange, was what she said. It was almost like a sound effect. Was it another demonic curse?
独り言はやめるべし。殺さないでとか警察がどうとか私には何のことかさっぱりだよ。
What? Was she trying to play dumb? Or was this her roundabout way of threatening me? And in actuality, she was saying, "For God's the truth, act as if nothing ever happened." What the hell was she thinking? Hadn't she come here to kill me?
ほら、立てる？立とう？
The demon girl walked up toward me and slowly reached out her hand. Her expression was so gentle, and now that I was seeing her up close, she was actually pretty cute. Damn it. I was letting her get to me. Stop acting like that. Was I seriously calling a demon pretty cute? She was a murderer. She had used Yua and Shogun to trap me, and now she had come to finish me off herself. Don't trust her. I'd already learned my lesson back with Yua. I'd never made the same mistake again. I refused to take her hand. Don't be deceived by this demon girl's smile. She was a demon trying to tempt me. If I gave in to that temptation, I would die. Trust no one. Don't believe anything. Don't believe anything anyone says.
だって見たんだ。お前が人を殺してるとこ。
あのさ、タク、それかなりひどいこと言ってるって気づいてる？まさか殺人犯呼ばわりされるなんてね。ははは。
What was she gonna do with me?
ニュージェネも
Just like with the guy in the fourth case. Was she gonna?
殺すんでしょ。それとも岩とか将軍とかがいる場所に連れてって。
岩？将軍？誰それ？
Maybe the three of them had decided to work together. That way I wouldn't be able to fight back when they beat me to death.
そんなの嫌だ。助けて。
じゃあね、私を殺人犯扱いしなければ助けてあげる。
So that was her true goal.
そんなビビらないでよ。いちいち私がへこむようなリアクションしてくれるよね。
お願いだ。もう二度と誰にも喋らないから。だから見逃して。
もしもーし、タク、ちょっと落ち着こう。
This bitch acting like we were close or something, call me Taku and shit. Wait, actually, how did she know my name? She had already known it back when we had first met at the crucifixion crime scene. How? How did she know? And also, how had she known where my base was?
当然でしょ。あなたの名前を知ってるのは。
Had she just read my mind? I knew she was clairvoyant. She knew my name, my address, all because she used her powers on me.
タクって結構独り言多いよね。前から思ってたことだけど。
Always? How long was she talking? Wait, had I been talking to myself out loud just now? I hadn't been aware of it at all. Was that really true? Had I really been talking to myself out loud? Or was it possible that she was just lying to me and in actuality she had read my mind?
タクの名前を知らないわけないよ。私、物覚えはそんなに良くない方だけど、友達の名前くらい覚えるよ。
Friends?
それともタク、私のことバカにしてる？そりゃ私、テストの点数はそんなに良くないけど。面と向かってそういうこと言われると傷ついちゃうな。
Was someone here crazy? But who was it? Me or her?
もしかして転校生？
そういえば近いうちに転校生が来るらしいよ。スカチン先生が言ってた。
There were two different conversations going on here. My terror from earlier, together with the anxiety of having no idea when I would get killed, was starting to fade. But rushing in to replace it was a completely new kind of dread, slithering into slowly erode my mind.
もしもし、その顔はまさかまだ信じてくれてない？
誰だ？
Who are they? A murderer? A demon girl? That was who?
タクこそクラスメートの顔を覚えてないんだ。ひどー。
Did she say classmate? So we weren't just friends, but classmates too?
でもまあ、しょうがないか。タクはあんまり学校来ないもんね。だからって、私の存在丸ごとなかったことにするのはどうかと思う。ちなみに、名前も忘れちゃってるわけかな。 はいはい、そうなのね。チョック。じゃあ思い出させてあげますよっと。私は崎畑凛美。リアクションなしかい。崎畑凛美。思い出した？
I hadn't even heard the name before. Besides, other than you, I had never met a 3D girl who had talked to me like we were this close in my life. And Yua was a demon girl's underling. Wait, that was it. What is the girl calling herself Saki Hata was doing right now was exactly the same as what Yua had done. The Temptress knew I wasn't used to interacting with 3D girls, so she was attempting to lead me into a trap by behaving all friendly and trying to seduce me. It was the same exact strategy. And the thing is, while I barely remembered my classmates' faces at all, and I didn't plan to, either I could say with absolute certainty that I'd never seen this girl's face in the same classroom as me before. Probably. Damn it, I couldn't completely rule it out. After all, whenever I was at school, I was usually glued to my desk until the final bell, pretending to sleep, having illusions, staring at my desk, or fainting reading my textbooks. I didn't do anything else. I had next to no memory of my classmates' names or faces, so I didn't even try to remember any. Which was it? Was she telling the truth, or was it all a lie? No. It didn't matter whether or not we were classmates, because the one thing I knew for sure, the one hard, indisputable fact was that she had committed murder.
たく記憶力ゼロ。まあいいや。じゃあ大臣に聞いてみて。
Daichin? What the hell was that? Was that a person or some sort of secret code? Another demonic incantation?
大臣、三角大輔。
She knew Mitsumi-kun's name, and not only that, but she was calling him Daichin? She wouldn't call him that unless they were really
と
close.
いうわけで、はい。
The demon girl quickly zeroed in on my cell phone that I had left lying on the sofa, picked it up, and held it out to me. It seems like she wanted to try calling Mitsumi-kun. I didn't like using phones, but she might kill me if I went against her orders. Driven by fear and with no other choice, I went to call him, only to realize I didn't know his number. Upon seeing me freeze up in confusion, the demon girl tilted her head in confusion once again. And after a moment, she came up beside me and peered over my shoulder at the screen. Her hair swayed as she moved, sending the pleasant fragrance of shampoo drifting down to the tip of my nose. No, she's a demon. I'll never let her seduce me. I'm not into 3D. Let me your power, Seiratan.
もしかして番号知らない？だったら先にそう言ってくれなきゃ。ごめんごめん。
With a light apology, the demon girl snatched the phone from my hand. Her fingers grazed mine for a fleeting moment. They were warm. I guess both demons and humans had the same blood running through their veins.
大臣の番号はね、ほいほいほいの。
Die Frage ist da eher, warum benutzt ihr unbedingt mein Telefon und nicht ihr eigenes, wenn sie das so gut kann alles. The demon girl entered his number without a hitch. It was clear she dialed it many times before.
つながった。
She held the cell phone out to me with a smile. Not knowing what else to do, I ended up taking it for no real reason and putting it to my ear. I heard the sound of the phone ringing. Eventually, the sound stopped and it was replaced by the voice of Mitsumi-kun.
あ、
They didn't give their name. Sounded like they were downtown or something, as I could hear a bunch of noise coming through the receiver. Really hated phones. I had no idea whether or not it was Mizumi-kun on the other end. The voice sounded like his, but I also had the strange feeling that something was slightly different about it.
タク、大地に出た？
This time the demon girl appeared at me from right in front of me. Shit, she was way too close. I turned my back to her and steeled myself.
西
Wait, wasn't that a bit strange? How had he figured out it was me that quickly? Vielleicht weil du immer so komisch redest. I hadn't even gotten halfway through my name yet.
見慣れない番号だったから誰かと思ったぜ。お前もしかして携帯買ったのか？
For example, there was a possibility that the demon girl had made a phone call to someone who only sounded like Mizumi-kun. Maybe this person who sounded like Mizumi-kun was just another underling of hers, and he was only pretending to be Mizumi-kun in order to trick me. Maybe the demon girl already knew that I didn't know Mizumi-kun's phone number, and so she had been leading up to this all this time. I was starting to doubt anything and everything. I didn't know what was true and what was a lie. Hold on, what the hell kind of trap was the demon girl trying to make me fall into anyway? Why bother with a trap like this? Elaborate. In a situation like this, wouldn't it be easier and quicker for her to just go ahead and kill me already? Or was there some reason behind it? Some kind of prerequisite saying she had to trick me, even if it meant taking it this slow? No. Maybe it was some hidden camera type thing spearheaded by Mizumi-kun. The girl wasn't actually my classmate, but Mizumi-kun's girlfriend, and he had sent her here in order to screw with me. As fucking if. If that was the case, how the hell would I explain everything that had happened at the crucifixion crime scene?
で、タク、なんか用か？お前から連絡してくるなんて珍しいこともあるもんだな。ま、俺としては野郎からの電話なんてあんま嬉しくねえんだけどな。
His tone of voice sounded exactly like Mizumi-kun's. The more I heard it, the more convinced I was that the person on the other end had to be him.
女の口説き方でも教えてもらいたいのか？なわけねえか。
Should I start talking? I sensed a gaze on my back. The girl was staring at me. The chills on the back of my neck still hadn't gone away. What kind of expression was the demon girl making? I wanted to turn around and see for myself, but I was too
用
scared.
がねえなら切るぞ。お前の無言電話に付き合ってるほど暇じゃねえんだ。今、女と一緒だからよ。だからなんだよ。用があるなら早く言えって。
その
なんだよ。早く言えって。
うちのクラス
ああ、うちのクラスがどうしたの？
いる
何が？
女子
あ？
咲畑って名前の
Despite steadily becoming more and more incoherent, I somehow managed to explain myself. Suddenly Mizumi-kun stopped responding. Silence. However, I could still hear the noise of the city around him, so the call hadn't disconnected or anything. Why wasn't he talking? The next thing I heard was an extremely exaggerated sigh.
お前さ、ゲーム脳じゃねえの？
Where did that come from? And not only was it completely out of left field, but he had brought up that bullshit condition that had been coined despite having no scientific backing whatsoever.
一瞬考えちまったよ。滝畑なんて名字で言うからよ。それって意味のことだろ？
How?
お前、いくら三次元の女に興味ねえからって、あいつのことまで忘れるか？俺はともかく、 お前は1年の時から同じクラスだったろ。この前だって3人で一緒に映画見に行ったじゃねえか。
I couldn't comprehend what the person that sounded like Mizumi-kun was saying. He had said that the demon girl and I had been in the same class since first year, and that the three of us had seen a movie together pretty recently. Pretty recently? What? But when exactly?
俺がお前とダチになったのだって最初はリミに付き合わされたのがきっかけだったしな。俺と同じでリミも物好きだからよ。兄さんのお前を気にかけてやってるのは世界広しといえど俺とリミぐらいだぜ。あ、それは言い過ぎか。
The words I heard on the other end of the call, not a single one of them felt real to me. I had absolutely no memory of any of it. I couldn't acknowledge that any of that had happened in the past. I just couldn't. It was all some story that the person who sounded like Mizumi-kun had made up. It couldn't be my past. The past could only be established as truth if a person remembered it. So if I didn't remember it, it wasn't true.
ていうか、リミってマジで女っ気ないよな。おっと、これはあいつには言うなよ。
君は誰だ？
おいおい、マジでおかしくなったか。俺のことまで忘れたわけか。ゲームやりすぎ。
Unable to take it anymore, I hung up the phone. My breathing had grown extremely heavy without me noticing. The sweat that had been beading on my forehead showed no sign of stopping. In fact, it was increasing. Long trails of sweat trickled down my entire body, starting from my face and ending at my feet.
タク、汗びっしょりだよ。
Demon girl, looking worried about me, calmly offered me a handkerchief. A cute, patternless vermilion handkerchief. There was a faint floral scent to it. Instead of taking it, I attempted to somehow maintain my composure and organize my thoughts about everything that was happening. But in the end, it didn't go too well. I was doubling anything and everything, causing all my thoughts to rapidly churn together into a chaotic whirlpool. Sighing in minor disappointment, the demon girl put away her handkerchief, and then, with a triumphant look on her face, she asked me a
で、
question.
大臣はなんて？
She was acting like she already knew the answer. I couldn't afford to answer her. What was she? An ordinary classmate of mine? Or a monster? I had no idea. Maybe I was a crazy one. Taking the chat with Shogun into consideration, I couldn't rule out the possibility that someone other than myself was controlling my body. Or maybe all my memories of the demon girl, of the girl named Sakihata Rimi, had somehow gone knocked right out of me due to some freak accident or something. At this point, I didn't know anything about myself for sure. Did I have amnesia? Did I sleepwalk? Or could it be something else entirely?
大丈夫？体、辛いならソファーで横になる？
The demon girl spoke to me kindly. Don't let your guard down. Anyone who acts nice to an otaku freak like me must have some kind of ulterior motive. I shook my head, putting my strong will to resist against the demon girl on full display. Then, using that same strength, I raised my head, sweat got in my eyes, blurring my vision. The demon girl's face was a lot closer than I had expected it to be. What color eyes were those?
なんで
なになに？
ここにいる？
ああ、ごめんね、勝手に入っちゃって。でも、ノックしてたんだよ。タクは全然出てきてくれないし、 中でものすごい音が聞こえてくるして結構ハラハラしてたんだから。
なんで
今度は何？
ここにいる。
No one asked what caused her to trespass. No, my question was, what was her reason for coming here? If she had come to kill me, she would have done it long time ago. So why wasn't she doing anything?
ああ、ここに来た理由？ね。
The demon girl reached into her bag and pulled out a single sheet of paper.
進路希望のプリント持ってきてあげたの。
I found myself taking it from her without really thinking. She wasn't lying. The piece of paper did have post-graduation's aspirations written on it, along with 3 blank spaces to write your answers in. Was that it? Was that really all she had come for?
帰ってよ。
I don't want anything to do with her. I don't want anything to do with any 3D girls. This is a trap. Don't listen to her. This isn't reality. This is a game. One filled with bugs. There are way too many contradictions. It doesn't hold together as a proper story.
僕に関わらないでよ。
If you don't intend to kill me, then just leave me alone. I am me. Some me that isn't me may be friends with Sakihata Arimi, but that me has nothing to do with the current me. Cradling my head, I closed myself off completely. I kept trembling and trembling, envisioning that the girl known as Sakihata Arimi wasn't there anymore. Not long after, I heard the sound of the door opening, telling me that the demon girl had left. So, nach diesem intensiven Erlebnis, sag ich mal, würde ich sagen, dass ich so langsam mal Feierabend mache. Ich habe ja gesagt, dass es heute nicht so lange ist, aber ich habe es zumindest wieder ein bisschen weitergemacht, ne? Auch wenn ich eigentlich heute gar nichts gemacht hätte normalerweise. Aber gut, wieder ein Stück, aber ich werde natürlich jetzt ein bisschen öfter wieder anmachen, damit das nicht wieder beim letzten Mal noch einen ganzen Monat hin ist.